When the young man on board saw this person approach, he left his station by the pilot and, hat in hand, leaned over the ship's bulwarks. He was a fine, tall, slim young fellow of 18 or 20, with black eyes and hair as dark as a raven's wing. And his whole appearance bespoke that calmness and resolution peculiar to men accustomed from their cradle to contend with danger. "Ah, is it you, Dante?" cried the man in the skiff. "What's the matter, and why have you such an air of sadness aboard?" "A great misfortune, Monsieur Morrel," replied the young man. "A great misfortune for me especially. Off Civita Vecchia, we lost our brave Captain Leclère." "And the cargo?" inquired the owner eagerly. "It's all safe, Monsieur Morrel, and I think you will be satisfied on that head. But poor Captain Leclère." "What happened to him?" asked the owner, with an air of considerable resignation. "What happened to the worthy captain?" "He died." "Fell into the sea?" "No, sir, he died of brain fever, in dreadful agony." Then, turning to the crew, he said, "Bear a hand there to take in sail." All hands obeyed, and at once the 8 or 10 seamen who composed the crew sprang to their respective stations at the spanker brails and the overhaul, topsail sheets and halyards, the jib downhaul, and the topsail clew lines and buntlines. The young sailor gave a look to see that his orders were promptly and accurately obeyed, and then returned again to the owner. All right, so what's happening here? We got some characters. We got some character description. There's a death. We talk about a death. So we're introduced to young sailor Edmond Dantès, and he informs the ship's owner, which, interesting, it doesn't even really introduce the idea that Morrel owns the ship, except by just, attributing him as the owner when he says, "And the cargo?" inquired the owner. So, I guess economy of storytelling. We can make some leaps here. But Dante informs Morrel of the tragic death of Captain Leclère, who succumbed to brain fever during the voyage. And I'm going to pause right here just to share some research with you. I was wondering, what the hell is brain fever? And apparently it's an old historic term used. It's very out of date to kind of talk about a range of different potential issues that could have happened to someone, that medically they didn't know or understand at the time. It's pretty vague, but it could have referred to things like meningitis, encephalitis, severe fever with delirium, heat stroke, even typhus or typhoid fever. So that's quite a wide range of things that somebody could have afflicted upon them. That leads to their death. But there's something just simple about brain fever that I don't know, feels evocative, and I flagged as something humorous. I will say that in the Robin Buss translation from Penguin, which people point to as the go-to translation, not brain fever is used, but apoplectic fever is used. Which my research says combines the terms apoplexy and fever, which basically is just like a stroke or sudden loss of consciousness. And it just, I guess suggests a serious acute illness that came on suddenly. All right, what else is happening here? The cargo, we're talking about the cargo. Apparently it's safe. Don't worry, the captain's dead, but your precious cargo is fine. And Dante, okay, we get the description of Dante, his physical description, and a little bit of just his attitude here. Let's recap that. He was a fine, tall, slim young fellow of 18 or 20 with black eyes and hair as dark as a raven's wing. Okay. Interesting. I mean, that makes sense. Pretty straightforward. I like this, though. His whole appearance bespoke the calmness and resolution peculiar to men accustomed from their cradle to contend with danger. Like, he was built from birth. What's the term the kids use? I'm built different. Yeah, he was just built to deal with the high seas, with adventure, with danger. I don't know. Kind of interesting. I guess I'd like that in my main characters. What else? I think that's it. I mean, Dante seems a little bit sad at the loss of his captain, but he seems very, very adept at what he's doing on board. The crew listened to him. TBD on whether or not he's kind of a dictator or whether or not he's a fair ruler of this ship in the captain's absence. Not enough information to make these determinations yet. Who's this owner of the ship? Morrel. We don't really get much about him yet either. So, you know what? We're going to look back at these early episodes and go, oh, what naive, ignorant young people you were. But we take everything as it comes to us. So until tomorrow, we'll see you then. The Countdown of Monte Cristo is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. This show is produced, edited, and hosted by Landon Solano. The original text of The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. Theme song by Magic Solo. If you want to support the show and others like it, visit patreon.com/gruntworkpod. Thank you for listening. See you tomorrow.